Mr. War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by TagMeADate. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
You got it. I couldn't find a good version of the new one, which I'm not necessarily thrilled about, except in the very beginning. But Charlotte Flair is back. Charlotte Flair is champion. Welcome to 2023, the War Report podcast. Vinnie Mac, take it away, bro.
Yes, sir, and it is January 3rd, not February 2nd, not Groundhog Day. Yes, Charlotte Flair is once again a WWE Women's Champion. Welcome to the first podcast in the new year, everybody.
14 times.
13 times.
Al, welcome to the show, man. Welcome.
We got Al with us tonight. Thank you for joining us, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Well, we sure as fuck got a lot to talk about. I mean, between SmackDown and Raw, there's a lot of shit that has gone down.
Well, this is the time to do it. Post whatever you do in December. There was not even a live event. There was no day one. They decided they're going. And hello, I assume that's Tara. Hello, Tara. How are you doing? There was no PLE to set any of this up to they just decided, you know what, we're going right in, SmackDown, Raw, Road to WrestleMania, and as of December 30th, which was Friday for SmackDown, the road started on Friday, so here we are.
SmackDown's gonna be good when the show kicks off with Bray Wyatt.
Right.
And one of those situations now where, once again, we have more questions than we have answers. And I've gone back and I've watched this segment now multiple times. And Uncle Howdy comes out, but that's definitely not who was in the ring. So that was another character, quite possibly Bo Dallas. I don't know. Why attack Bray?
Is there another one from on Monday? Alexa looked at somebody in a mask, right?
Well, Alexa.
Alexa. I'm gonna go mute it right now.
All right. It looks like we're gonna jump around quite a bit. So Alexa on Raw had her match for the women's title against.
Right. And I only bring it up because she ended up. It looks like she's joining this story.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen little teases, but now we got something because ultimately she's got a great match going on with Bianca. And then all of a sudden there's a guy in the front row wearing an Uncle Howdy mask. And she's kind of like, what the fuck? And then she tries to ignore it and go back. And then she gets up to the top rope and sees another one with the mask on. And then that butterfly shit flashes on the screen. And now she starts like, oh, my head's hurting kind of thing. Then it happens again. Now she's having a full-blown like, oh my God, my head's going to explode. And then all of a sudden she leaps onto the ref and starts wailing on him. And then she just goes fucking ham on Bianca. I mean, beats the fucking piss out of her. And then DDTs her like 3 times into the steps, leaves her bloody. And then when she walks out, she's got that look in her eye like, like Harley Quinn bitch is back kind of thing.
Right.
I thought it was fucking great. So we've just said a lot in about 20 seconds. Who wants to jump in and dissect this one? Because, even the promo afterwards with Alexa, she was kind of like, yeah, no, I had total control kind of thing. So
I don't know, man, because like I was trying to think. So you think going back to SmackDown, because I wanted to tie that in. It looks like there were multiple people on Monday Night Raw that kind of had the masks on. You think that the person that went in the ring and attacked Bray wasn't Uncle Howdy? You think it was a different character?
I think so, because if I'm right, the guy that comes out of the curtain is Uncle Howdy. He's got the top hat, the cigarette thing, whatever. Yeah. But then right away, there's another person in the ring with a mask on, and that's who attacks Bray Wyatt. So are we attacking Bray Wyatt to get him to go fucking crazy again? You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I think it's great. I'm loving it. I am bought in. Al, what are you thinking?
I mean, the best thing about wrestling for me as an adult, right? Because we always see things coming. Is when you look at the screen, you're like, "Holy shit, what just happened?" And you have no idea what's going on. So again, I saw this one video, or it was a picture. I'm sorry, in some website, I think it was Instagram, that it showed like a standstill of Uncle Howdy, and he has like this earring with a cross on it. And then they show us a simultaneous picture of Bo Dallas. That's the same cross earring he wears. So I definitely think Uncle Howdy is going to be Bo Dallas. Now, this third character is the thing, right? It's like, who is he? Like, is he one of the Wyatt Sixes? Like, he has to be, right? But why would he attack Bray Wyatt? So I'm as confused as you are. I'm just all in on it. I mean, I wasn't all in on LA Knight, but his mic work has been getting better and better every night. And his face reactions when he got into the ring, he looked like a fan. Like, what is going on? Like, I thought it was just awesome. So I'm just as confused as everybody else. I do think that is a third character, though. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah, LA Knight rolls out of the ring, and you can see his mouth. Like, what the fuck? Like, he was
they had
what's going on right
they
now?
bleeped it.
Well, you know, among the rumors, you know, Bo Dallas, obviously, but you know, one of the rumors was Vincent from Ring of Honor, which I don't know if that's the same Vincent as
Marseglia.
It is that Vincent. Okay. And then
also big with Northeast Wrestling also.
Right. Yeah. He was part of back when the Kingdom started in Northeast Wrestling. He was.
And then, although it's weird, the guy kind of looks like Edge a little bit too. So
it did, yeah.
I know it has nothing to do with Edge, but you know, that's just something I noticed. But
people did point that out, though. That was the thing that people were kind of looking at. They were looking at the because all you can see is the kind of the chin and the beard.
Like,
so they were trying to figure it out from that.
I understand the addition of Bo Dallas because it's his brother, but he has the charisma of a Rock, though. So
I just have a feeling that it's never going to be revealed that it's Bo Dallas. I don't think Bo Dallas is going to be the mastermind behind this whole thing. I think it's going to end up just being some weird, spooky manifestation of Bray Wyatt split himself into 6 people or something, and then he has to fight each other, like the other 5, and like reclaim his soul or something.
Like, what if Bray fights all of the others in like some kind of gauntlet match?
Well, he's already got. This is the thing that's kind of got me going. Steve, is that the match is not a regular match. The match is not a no DQ match. It's not a cage match. It's not an Inferno match. It's not a Firefly Funhouse match. It is a goddamn Mountain Dew pitch black match, which, by the way, up until Mountain Dew buying the rights to whatever this name is, has never existed before. There's no such thing as a pitch black match in wrestling. So this is a new.
They haven't even really explained what it is. Okay, well, no rules.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. We don't have them yet. There's no
right.
All we know is it's pitch black.
Right. What does that mean? Are they blindfolded? Do you have to beat your opponent till they black out? Like, what do you? You know, which
dude, if the pitch black match is a blindfold match, I'm gonna run into traffic. This can't be. That can't be.
I think a pitch black match is actually gonna be when you're gonna get introduced to another one of the Wyatt Sixes. But there's another personality of him. So there's gonna be more than just LA Knight and Bray Wyatt in that match. That's gonna be the thing on it. Like
100%.
Yeah, he turns around and all of a sudden it's a different character, you know, and then something else and somebody else is gonna pop up.
And if it's pitch black in the sense that it really is like dark in the arena, and maybe they do like a fake night vision goggle thing on the camera or something, there are ways that they can have people pop out as different characters and different costumes and shit. So like that would be interesting. But the idea of, I don't know, dude, I really don't like that Mountain Dew bought like Bray Wyatt's first match back after 2 years and disappearing after WrestleMania and having all these question marks about the Fiend is a sponsor. Like, what if it was the Papa John's Shakaroni pizza match? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Let me take it even a little further. I'm kind of pissed off that Bray Wyatt's first match back is a gimmick match at all.
I mean, we already talked about how LA Knight was the wrong choice anyway, and we thought
every
that when
gimmick
he got
match,
attacked, that it was...
every gimmick match that he's been in, has been trash.
100%.
You know what I mean? He had the Hell in the Cell with Seth Rollins, and people booed the match out of the building.
Yeah, disqualification.
Like, people didn't love his fucking thing with John Cena and the
Yeah, I mean, that was COVID, so I kind of get it.
Yeah, no, I get it too, but people didn't like it.
Stuff. Yeah,
then
no,
it was the Mania match with Randy Orton with all those things on the ring.
This match,
Firefly House, I think it was called.
Yeah,
the one
something
with Randy,
like that.
Right?
The house burned down. Yeah.
I think
the Inferno match where they lit the Fiend on fire in the ring.
For Bray Wyatt's return match, it should be Bray Wyatt just unleashed and just absolutely fucking dominate and be an animal. You know what I mean? He doesn't need a gimmick, doesn't need anything else. Just, the fans have been itching to see Bray Wyatt back in the ring. So,
Steve, question though.
Yeah.
If this match is some sort of gimmick match, but anything close to the Undertaker and AJ style, we might have something in hand.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You have different direction now, right? So they might look at it from another point of view and take that great match and try to put some of that into this. If I get something like that, I'm all in.
Yeah, I don't disagree with. If it's something like the Boneyard, I could get in on that. I could. But I also think that's disappointing for the people that paid the money to be there live.
For sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people bought tickets to go to the Rumble to see the return of Bray Wyatt in the ring.
Right.
Not the only reason, but definitely a big part of it. You know.
Right.
Did you see the rumors though? Because I saw this right after Uncle Howdy attacked him. I saw somebody. I mean, it could be a spoof, but it was Uncle Howdy versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. So who's to say that Uncle Howdy could attack Bray Wyatt in this lights out match?
Oh, he very well could.
I would still be so confused.
But that would be great. But just think about it, right? After Royal Rumble, there isn't really it's going to be a short turnaround to WrestleMania, right? WrestleMania is what, mid-April, if that?
Yeah.
So you have a month. No, you still have 2 months, give or take. You still got 2 months, so you could give him another rival. But as of now, for me, it seems he has two rivals: LA Knight and Uncle Howdy that attacked him.
Yeah.
Unless this Uncle Howdy attacking Bray is to get Bray to not give a fuck anymore and be the Bray of old.
Turn him into the Fiend again?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer
nobody
is.
knows. There's only a couple. There's a small handful of people that know the answer.
But that's what's so great, because we can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And it gets me kind of excited. I just hope I'm not disappointed.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think, like, I don't think for this Rumble, but maybe next year's, where, remember the 98 Rumble where 3 faces of Foley? What if there's like the 6 faces of Wyatt in the match?
Oh, that would be weird. Although, I mean, listen, I can see Uncle Howdy entering the Rumble. If the Fiend enters the Rumble or Wyatt enters the Rumble, I can see Howdy entering the Rumble. It would be kind of weird. Like, what did he do? Did he go backstage and grab one of the ping pong balls out of the big tumbler or whatever it is? Like, that would be weird. But I don't know. I can see it happening.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. The nice thing is that they can really take this in different directions. It just depends on what they feel like doing. But so far, I'm bought in. I'm enjoying it, and we'll have to see what happens at the Rumble. I mean, we still have some time leading up to it, right? What we got? 2 weeks?
I think so.
Yeah, we're 2 weeks out, give or take. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sunday or Saturday, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, remember what you were saying about Asuka and her possible change of character, and then this whole thing, it's all connected where, she was partners with Alexa and this and that. And then I'm thinking, like, I wouldn't be sad if they brought Braun in there, and Braun's got the connection to both the Wyatt family and Alexa Bliss. So it's all,
I would totally be good with Braun. I mean, listen, they're not doing a fucking thing. I was just
going to say, what are they doing with him?
Yeah, I mean, they could connect it all again, and I wouldn't mind the return of Rowan either.
They should rehire Rowan. They should bring back Redbeard.
He was fine. I mean, well, for what he, for his purpose, he's just a big, intimidating guy. Like, sure, he's not going to wrestle a 5-star match, but
as long as he doesn't have a giant fake spider in his.
Yo, that was the worst.
That was horrible. They need to bring back the Wyatt Redbeard. You know what I mean? Like the one that didn't say a fucking word. He just beat people up and called it a day.
Yeah, you got to play into somebody's strengths, and his strength was.
Oh man, they should bring back that jobber that screamed when when Rowan and Harper brought him up and powerbombed him or whatever.
Oh my god! Yeah, bring him back. Like I would have brought that guy back every week.
That was hilarious.
You need guys like that. You need guys at every level. Even a job guy, if they're memorable, you bring them out and you have them beat. Like they had that guy Bray Wyatt could have beat him up in like one match. Bray Wyatt's coming back.
How long did they milk Ellsworth for?
Ever, yeah. Until there were allegations made that were turned out to be disproven. I think from a young girl. I don't know. It was very weird. I think he's been exonerated, but I could be wrong. You guys can Google it and let me know. I'm not going to say whether or not the guy's innocent. I'm not going to commit to it, but you can Google it. So do we want to? I guess.
So the next big takeaway of the night. Yeah, we can talk Bray all day. So if you move on, the next blockbuster thing to happen on SmackDown was Ronda Rousey defending the title against Raquel Rodriguez.
Oh, yep.
The match was okay, and then Ronda wins. And all of a sudden, Charlotte's new music hits. She comes out, looks great. Basically challenges her for the belt. They ring the bell. A big boot, a false finish, a spear, and Charlotte is now your 14-time women's champion.
Crazy.
So I said, I'm glad to see Charlotte back. And I said this to Al, but at the same time, they kind of ruined a nice return at the Royal Rumble. We're so close to the Rumble at this point. Why wouldn't you have just waited? Now she's not even going to be in the Rumble. We kind of just did this story with Becky Lynch and Bianca all not too long ago. So we're kind of recycling again. Right. And now all of a sudden she's 14-time champion. And I wasn't sure if I loved the new music. But I do like the beginning of the new music. The techno part, I'm not sold yet. I haven't found a good copy of it to listen to. So I said this to Al. Al, what was your response to that?
Well, what I said was that basically they could go the route that I told you about, right? Which was basically the whole Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair thing we had at SummerSlam. But they could do the heel version of it now. So they could just have Ronda Rousey pretty much tear ass for a year and have Charlotte hold her belt. And somewhere down the line, I could see the face turn, because you're definitely going to want Charlotte more as a heel than you do a face. And you're going to want Ronda Rousey to take the belt as a face than a heel to have the fans behind her at WrestleMania. So that's one route about it. But I got to thinking about that, Steve. And one other thing I'm looking at is the tag team titles, the women tag team titles, are stale. And now that you got Baszler with Ronda, I think that was a way for them to get them away from that, have them dominate that division. So I think that's really the change that happened. And you could give Charlotte an endless of opponents from now that are going to look, you're going to believe it's going to be a little bit more believable that they could beat Charlotte and they could go back and forth. Because again, Charlotte looks good when you're beating her up. She knows how to be a wrestler in that matter. Like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I truthfully believe that Ronda Rousey still needs to be carried through a match. Hence the fact that I see her more as a tag team partner, putting her in the ring part-time. And again, it'll be endless from here on what you could do with Flair with the title on it. I didn't think it was a bad move. I've always loved Flair with a title on her. I just wish she was a heel again, mother effing everybody.
My only issue with what you just said, quite honestly, is all right, so you focus Ronda and Baszler as tag. Okay, but you got to then have some more women tag teams for it to mean anything. The problem and the reason why it went stale is there's not enough women tag teams right now to carry a feud or feuds, you know what I'm saying, for the gold. That's the problem. And it's so hard to just, all right, I'm going to take you and put it together. Like, you know, sometimes you got to have, you know, not everyone is going to be the Street Profits where they just put together and they meshed well, or, you know, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Mike. Like, sometimes you have to have something. So I don't know. I think that's my only issue with it. Otherwise, it's not bad. I'm with you on it.
Based on that, what you said, you're absolutely right. But keep in mind, I just told you I want them to run through the division. So in reality, you're just really looking for one opponent to do the same thing on an opposite brand for the next 6 months or so. Do you want them through SummerSlam, whatever the case may be, or you want them to hold it a little bit longer? And then you have a clash, right? Because they have to depend on both brands, and you can dominate them more on one brand. Who knows? Like right now, there might not be an opponent, but they could bring some NXT girls up, or they could build. Like I really like that girl, Michelle Rodriguez for me. Is that her name? Michelle Rodriguez?
Raquel Rodriguez.
Raquel Rodriguez. I'm sorry, Raquel Rodriguez. For me, is a powerhouse. So
Yes.
I will find her a tag team because I don't see her as an individual champ. She's not there yet, but she's good enough to get a hot tag, dominate a match. You know, come in as the big Cass and rule over, and then you get her a mouthpiece, a girl that could talk a little bit, and you got yourself a formidable tag team that could probably take them out in a few months with a couple of feuds or whatnot. So the other ones you can mix them up, let them get beat up. You're just gonna have girls trying to.
With? That's what I
Here's
wonder who you would put Raquel with.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be anyone big because she makes up for the size, right?
You do a Shawn and Shawn and Kevin Nash thing,
an Enzo and Cass type of thing.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Well, okay. Here's a question.
Liv.
Here's a question. Do you need a transitional tag team champions between Damage Control and Ronda and Shayna, or do you just have them straight up beat them?
Straight up beat them.
Like, does it even matter that it's heel versus heel? I don't think it really matters.
No, they're going to cheer
Besides,
for
I heard rumors. I heard rumors of them like taking the, like breaking away from Bayley anyway.
Well, they've really, aside from the win on Monday,
that whole thing is kind of stupid because, like, if Bayley is the leader, but she's not a champion, but her underlings are, what the fuck does that?
Yeah, no, the whole thing didn't make sense. She should have came back and won the title very quickly after. So to have Bianca chase after her.
I have something to add to that. So you take it back a little bit. When you said control my split from who, Bayley? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is this: they already kind of laid the foundation in that on Raw with Becky Lynch, right? She came out and said, "Wow, they're doing all the heavy lifting for you. They're carrying the gold, and you pretty much just talking, hiding behind your people." So what about if they, betray Bayley, turns Bayley into a face? You don't have to put Bayley right away into the championship picture, but you could put her a tag team and get the revenge with Raquel Rodriguez. And there goes your mouthpiece. There goes your Shawn Michaels to your Diesel. And that's a storyline in its own. You can carry that for a few months.
I don't hate that.
I mean, because
Bayley would be a good mouthpiece.
In NXT, Raquel was the Diesel to Dakota Shawn Michaels. That was the dynamic.
Yeah, but Dakota ain't the Shawn Michaels that Bailey would be.
Right. Yeah. I know.
Completely.
Ryan just joined. I didn't even notice. Ryan scared the shit out of me when he spoke up. I was like, oh, what?
I was waiting to smoothly chime in without
yeah, that was
disrupting.
good. I didn't even notice until I was like, wait, that voice sounds different. But Ryan's back. Thank you for coming, buddy. How you doing?
Yep, I'm doing all right.
So kind of an interesting thing here. We're talking about this women's division shakeup that happened on SmackDown, and then also kind of talking about what happened on Raw with Becky and Damage Control and the potential shakeup of Damage Control, kind of maybe teasing a split from Bailey based on Becky's promo, kind of pointing out that they're doing all the work while Bailey isn't. Maybe kick her out. But
they're definitely planting that seed.
And then on Friday night, they basically, I think they've moved away from Ronda as a WrestleMania main eventer for this year. We were talking last week about Becky's, people close to Becky saying that they thought Becky versus Ronda in the WrestleMania main event wasn't going to have as much heat as it would have a couple of years ago, and they think they missed the boat on it. And maybe they did, but it seems to me, at least based on the discussion we're having now and just kind of how things have turned out these last few days, is that Charlotte is now going to be the centerpiece for whatever WrestleMania main event is for SmackDown. And this idea of Baszler and Ronda going after the women's tag team titles and maybe not having Ronda won't have the singles championship main event that maybe she would want, but her and Baszler going into WrestleMania as the women's tag team champions, or maybe chasing after women's tag team champions to win the belts at WrestleMania.
But wait, are we supposed to believe that Ronda's not going to demand a rematch for the belt?
I mean, she might. Maybe it'll happen at Rumble, but I don't. What I'm saying is,
she might.
Yeah,
right.
I don't.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I just think, dude. I think WrestleMania is now. I don't think Ronda's being eyed or positioned for the WrestleMania main event anymore for the women's title. I think not even as a challenger. I think now they've shifted completely.
Yeah, they'd have to have somebody butt in so much to Ronda's business that she takes her mind off the women's title and
it could be Damage Control. Who knows? That's not a bad idea. That Damage Control starts to bother her, and she's already got a tag team partner with Shayna, so then she can just challenge him. That's not a terrible idea.
I mean, I thinking about it now. I mean, the story's in front of us, and we're not even thinking about it. It might be Bailey and the Man taking over the tag team division, and they'll have the title, and then they'll see Shane and Ronda down the line. Because that might be. She's the one that planted the seed for us. So we're overlooking the fact that. Plus, she's a bigger attraction. The Man just had a belt, so I don't think she's going after a championship, and she's going to be in WrestleMania. So what better way to put her with her old friends and, go after the title or retain the title or whatever might happen.
That's interesting.
I have a question. Did anyone notice this, I guess I would call it I don't know what I call it, but during the backstage Damage Control thing, in the background, did anyone see MVP talking with Adam Pearce? And then Shelton Benjamin and Cedric were there.
I think they're putting the Hurt Business back together.
Yeah, they're planting seeds for that.
They need to.
Can we just do it for real this time?
Yes.
I don't know what guy. Let's pretend the last couple of years didn't happen. And
Hurt
those
Business
guys never
versus
broke up.
Bloodline War Game.
Ooh.
Right, let's pull the trigger officially now.
Yeah.
Right.
Those two factions, War Games, I'd love it, but that's a ways away.
Yeah, for sure.
The year just began, so
Right. Can't wait for
John
November.
Cena makes his return versus Roman and Sammy, Cena and Owens. It was exactly what I thought it would be. I thought it was great. Cena's bald spot is serious, and he should consider shaving his head.
Man,
he's got a lot of money. Implants, my brother. He's got to do something to fix that. One way
he needs to just shave his head. Fuck it.
He needs to
shave
shave
his head.
it.
That's what I did.
plant some more. Like there's only two options. The option that he's chosen is option C that you should never choose, which is to leave it that way. He can't leave it that way.
Unless he's going to be a monk or something.
Yeah, unless he's playing like Friar Tuck in a new Robin Hood movie or something. He should not have that haircut. Holy shit. He looks weird. Like it's so
put on
weird.
a yarmulke and then boom.
He would be able to
Problem
cover up.
solved.
He's so skinny. Like I don't know. Like he just looks like middle-aged dad John Cena now. It's so weird.
We're getting old.
I know. Made me feel old to see him get bald. It's like, oh no. At least it didn't happen.
He had the opposite effect of The Rock. He got smaller, not bigger.
Yeah, no, The Rock decided to. If The Rock was this size when he was in the WWE and WWF, Vince McMahon would have never made him leave. He would have kept him in a lifetime contract. Holy shit, this Rock, like, you know, all yoked up. Oh my God. He'd still be wrestling. But
yeah, Vince would probably have a heart attack if he saw him walk through the.
But he couldn't. But that was the problem. He got so blown up, then he couldn't actually wrestle that well because he was too.
But you know, he'd find a way to get him under contract.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What about these rumors of Cena facing Logan Paul at Mania? I no offense to Logan Paul, but I'd rather see Cena with a different match.
Yeah, there was also talks, I guess, last year of doing Cody versus Cena instead of Cody versus Seth.
What about Austin versus Cena?
That wouldn't be terrible.
I mean, it's about 15 years too late, but let's do it.
Well, yeah, that's true, but Austin did a hell of a lot with Kevin Owens last year, though.
He did. But what I'm saying is the idea of Austin passing the anti-authority torch to John Cena in some way to kind of define him as the guy. That never, that moment, we never got that because of that whole thing with Brock Lesnar. And
the closest we got was that handshake at the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Right. Because this was right around, Cena started getting big right around the time that Austin had left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to find a new guy. Vince McMahon made a speech before his show one day, like, I need to see ruthless aggression. I need a new main event star, right? And then John Cena comes up after the meeting. He's like, I want to be that guy. And he's like, you're hired. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a true story, folks. I might have embellished a little bit, but it's a true story. Looks like Al dropped out, man.
Shit. All right.
He'll come back. He's got the leg.
They
always come back.
There he is.
But regarding the Charlotte thing, like, I had mixed feelings because, like,
you've always had mixed feelings when it comes to Charlotte Flair.
Well, one thing is that yes, I do tend to get sick of Charlotte with a belt all the goddamn time, but at the same time, I'm like, this Ronda experiment this time around was just not working.
Yeah, the first time was like lightning in a bottle, and it's just, I don't know, it's been diminishing returns ever since.
It's just not the same. It's like, I don't know, it was Eddie brings this up a lot on the show when he's around, that it's just not the same Ronda anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I don't know if she's overthinking it or they're overthinking it. I don't know.
That was my mixed feelings. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Good. I'm glad that someone else is champion now, even if it is Charlotte. And by the way, it's 16 times if you count NXT titles, but obviously they don't.
Yeah, they took those out so they could like make it a bigger deal than when she wins 6. Are they gonna have her win 6? She's gonna lose it between now and WrestleMania and then win number 16 at WrestleMania, huh?
I mean, look, they
next year's Mania.
They can do the 16 times all they want, but it's still just the women's title. No offense, and it's not the world title. I'm sorry, it's not the same.
And
there's
also,
2 women's.
And there's a lot of arguments to be made that Ric Flair won that world title a hell of a lot more than 16 times.
Yeah, more like 23 or something.
I was gonna say that was the same number I had in my head, something like 23 times. But who's
honestly,
counting?
See, the amount of title wins doesn't matter to me. It only reminds me that they lost it that many times too.
Right.
Longevity with the belt is
and that's the other thing, Eric, is to your point. Ric Flair won 16 titles over like what a 30,
In 20
40-year
years.
career. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, and Charlotte is doing the 16-time
Yeah, Cena
champion
won it in like 10
0%
years.
speed run.
But you know
Like,
what?
yeah.
That just means that you have to acknowledge the tribal chief when you want to talk about longevity.
Oh, absolutely, and I do.
You know what I mean?
Although,
Just saying.
even though I don't think of the Universal title as a world title, whatever, but he still held the world title for a year anyway. The other,
Yeah.
The actual world title, right?
Yeah, the one that matters. So even if they do split up the belts and maybe Cody wins the
one that
WWE
matters.
title,
Well, so here's the thing: they are hyping Cody's return. Cody on Twitter intimated he tweeted out the graphic of a number 1, I think implying he's going to be number 1 in the Rumble. That would be the only reason to tweet the number 1 if you're a WWE superstar. And it's fucking January, so go figure.
And I tend to agree with Steve what he said about Cody a week ago or so, that it's almost a shame that they announced Cody before and like
they're
why
doing
not
this
just
weird shit. Why is
wait till
Charlotte
the
coming
goddamn
back?
Rumble?
Yeah, Charlotte comes back on TV. They
Well,
announce
that's
Cody
just-
in some fucking video package. Like, come on, guys.
They don't do the surprises anymore.
Right. Well, this is the kind of shit that bothers me. And I was really hoping this would be one thing that changed under the new regime, and clearly it's not. And that's the element of surprise,
We need like an AJ Styles
especially when you are talking about the Royal Rumble. That's the best part, the surprises. That music hits and you're like, holy shit. Eric, you made a good point. Like AJ Styles when he made his debut, because nobody knew the music, and then all of a sudden you just saw phenomenal and everybody knew. And the roof flew off the fucking place. So those are the moments you look for. So by ruining it and having like Charlotte, the roof would have flown off for the women. It would have. It's been that long,
And there's something to be said about, I don't know. I know there's certain Royal Rumbles. The story has been somebody earns the right to be number 30 or number 1 or whatever. Or somebody gets punished and gets put out as number 1. And there's a story behind it. So there's probably a story behind Cody being number 1. But to me, kind of as,
but they've overdone that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. As a kid, my favorite thing was the announcers going, Howard Finkel goes, "It is now time for the Royal Rumble match." And he explains the whole thing. And then they're like, who's going to be number 1? We don't know. It could be anybody. And
well, look, I like the '89 one when Axe was number 1 and Smash was number 2. And
they beat the shit out of each other
until the third guy comes out. I loved it.
Which is so in character, but also dumb because they could have just saved their own energy and waited to attack the
Royal Rumble has always been one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. And last year I was a little disappointed, and I'm hoping that I am not this year. Yeah.
Was last year the Brock Lesnar one?
Yeah.
But it was, and same for the women too. But for me, I think it was the lack of surprises. There weren't really so many like, oh my God, goosebump type moments. And that's what you look for during the Rumble. So I hope we get that at least once in each.
The only surprise we got in the women's last year was the Mickie James thing, holding the Impact title.
That's crazy.
That was a pretty big thing. To give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, so listen, we're about a little more than halfway through. We should probably shift now fully to Raw. The show opened with chaos. I was actually watching the actual intro. I wasn't fast forwarding, and all of a sudden it cut to the bloodline.
That was cool.
Just beating the shit out of everybody, which I thought was a great open. Them doing a takeover, and then Pierce coming out, cutting a great promo, sending out more stupid security, like they're not going to get destroyed.
Right.
And then, setting up the main event, which wound up being a 6-man. Sammy and Usos versus Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. And then Solo versus
Elias.
Elias. In a Louisiana, was it Louisiana?
City street fight.
Music City street fight, right.
So beat the shit out of them with musical instruments.
Yeah, it was entertaining, but yeah, I mean SmackDown was, another great show, I thought. what do you guys think overall? Anything that stuck out to you that you
Like-
want to?
I think we talked about this, but I am digging that Solo's doing like the Samoan Spike these days.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy's gonna, he's gonna end up being a big deal. They're already setting it up. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be, when the time comes that Roman Reigns wants to go,
That's why they
retire
brought
or
him
take
up from
time,
NXT because he has something.
Yeah, and they realized he didn't need to be sitting there in NXT feuding with that fucking fat fuck Joe Gacy and all that other shit. You know what I mean? Like, goddamn, if you imagine if Solo Sikoa had to put up with those stupid ass druids the same way that Braun Breaker did.
Jesus.
But yeah, he's gonna be. If I like that, he's
you know
a big
what?
deal.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I totally forgot to mention this. We probably should make mention. We lost Don West.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that's
you know, Impact Wrestling. That's how I got introduced to him. Like I knew him from the infomercials.
Right.
And then he was always doing like baseball cards and shit. And then
it was always baseball.
Those were entertaining.
And then he joined Impact, and him and
Mike Tenay. It was a great combo.
Tenay. What a great combo. They complemented each other well. Absolutely. I actually went to a few shows live of Impact, and Don West was there, and every one of them getting the place hyped and giving away shirts and like all this shit, like being Don West. And he was always such a nice guy. I had a few conversations with him in a few of the shows. So it's a shame. I didn't even know he was sick. So
yeah, he was going through cancer.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, and for those of you who in the 90s and 2000s were awake at 1 a.m. and turned on like Home Shopping or QVC, you might see Don West hawking baseball cards.
I'll be honest, it took me a while to kind of get into him, but he was very excited, out in commentary.
It was genuine.
And then when he did the heel turn on Tenay,
that was funny
great too. And then he got even more entertaining. And of course, every time you talk about Velvet Sky.
Yeah, he was the guy he was able to flip it. Because after doing wrestling commentating against your guy for so long,
he loved Velvel.
Yeah, and he finally got a chance to, I guess, when he started, he probably didn't get it as much. There is a learning curve to learning wrestling. By the time they had him be a bad guy, which is like probably 10 years later at least, he just got it and he understood what he needed to do. And he was great at being the bad guy as well. But the thing you're always, I'll always remember Don West for is that he was legitimately excited when a move happened that he thought was amazing. He named the Pele kick when AJ Styles hit it during a TNA taping once. You know what I mean? Like these are just like I remember I think it was Amazing Red hit a Code Red or something like that, and Don West jumped up from his seat and started high-fiving the fans behind the barricade. Like he was celebrating just like the fans are celebrating at ringside. It's just, he had such an energy.
Don West was then what Pat McAfee is now.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
A guy from the outside who came in.
I was going to say Mauro Ranallo.
I was going to say you can put him in that too, because Mauro, what a passionate motherfucker. But and by the way, I'm hearing Pat McAfee's on his way back for a return. So,
well, yeah, football season's over,
right? So, but anyway, so it's a shame, man. Yeah, he really he was a nice guy. Like I said, a couple of times I talked to him.
The other thing I remember him getting excited about, I think it was like not Ultimate X, it was like the Six Sides of Steel, early days of TNA, when I think it was Triple X versus like Elix Skipper did that thing off the top of the cage in the Hurricane Rana or something.
He ran across the little thin pipe of the cage.
I don't know if it was against three Live Crew or something.
It was against America's Most Wanted and somebody else. Whatever. It was a 6-man thing because it was Triple X, which was Elix and was it Low Key and Christopher Daniels? Something? I think that was a group. Yeah, those guys, awesome too. But it's a tragedy, the guy, especially, what was he, 60-something years old? He's not that old, 59 years old. Like, it's awful.
And also I think that the dynamic wouldn't have worked if it was anyone with him other than Mike Tenay.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah,
They
because
were
today was
they
a
were as
real.
They
they flowed together like
yeah,
Monsoon and Heenan.
they
Like it
brought
was just a
something out in
perfect.
each other, and I think it was
Yeah.
it was great.
Because Mike today was a straight man, but he could
And
also get
what a great person to learn from in the tree of knowledge of
the
wrestling.
professor,
Yeah.
the literal professor. Man, like he felt. I feel bad for Mike today because from everything Tony Schiavone said on podcasts and on Twitter and stuff, when people ask him, is that um, basically TNA when they got rid of him, just kind of got rid of him. They didn't really. It was just one of those things where they're like, yeah, your contract's up, we're not going to renew you, whatever. And it was just kind of like, that's it. Like after all these years, you're not going to let me. It wasn't. They didn't do like a Mike Tenay's final broadcast and do like a retirement ceremony, Hall of Fame. They're just like, oh, see ya. So
And Impact's commentary hasn't been good since.
no, it's terrible.
When
So
they have
and
fucking Josh Matthews and
and they pitched Josh Matthews' voice down, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you know this. If you listen to it, they very obviously use audio correction software to make his voice artificially deeper because he does not have a deep voice. And this is not a joke.
amazing.
This is a fact from somebody who does a lot of audio and video editing, and I've heard it from other people as well. They artificially pitched down his voice to make it sound deeper. But basically, Mike Tenay got dicked over by TNA. Well, not TNA. It was when TNA became Impact, and then they changed commentary and everything.
That's what happened to AJ too.
Right. So Mike Tenay completely distanced himself from the wrestling business. He always lived in Las Vegas.
What is Tenay doing these days?
He does sports book handicapping, and like picks and stuff like that. So he's a professional odds maker and professional sports picker, and that's what he did anyway. Like that was always one of his things, which is why he was so good at memorizing wrestling moves and wrestling facts and knowledge about the history of different things. Was that he used that in his professional life to like analyze sports teams' wins and loss records and individual statistics and stuff to make odds and place these bets and stuff. So he's just doing that now. But apparently from what Tony Schiavone says, he doesn't talk to anybody from the wrestling business anymore. It's like he just felt like he really got burned by them and then just completely cut it off, which is a tragedy. I wish he would come back at least just for one night to call a match, to call a segment for AEW, WWE, NXT, whoever it is, just so the fans can kind of give him, appreciate him and let him kind of go out on his own terms.
One last buy.
Yeah, exactly. It would be great if Tony Schiavone could get that done. But
think about WCW, how much he added to, especially like the cruiserweight division, which not a lot of people had knowledge of. He brought that knowledge to,
Yeah, whenever they needed to introduce a wrestler from Mexico or a wrestler from Japan, they'd have footage and whatever, and they'd do this little video package, and who was talking over it? Mike Tenay, because he knew everything about everybody. They were doing a match where I think it was Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio's mask was on the line against Cruiserweight Championship. And on a Monday Night Raw, they had a whole video package about the meaning behind Mexican lucha libre wrestling masks, and they had they showed like footage of the mask makers sewing the masks together and various luchadors talking about the history of it and all that stuff. And again, narrated by Mike Tenay because he was literally the only one. Bobby Heenan was an American wrestling guy. Schiavone was an NWA guy. Maybe he called a Great Muta match or two when he was never calling Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
Jim Ross, none of the WCW guys.
Like think about
whatever.
Yeah, think about how much he could add to like the Death Triangle matches.
Oh yeah,
AEW. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, it would be great to just hear him do that again. Sorry, I had a cough, folks.
So, Al, what do you think? We're getting to the top of the hour. You have anything you want to throw out? Anything that?
Yeah. So here's an interesting little tidbit. Last we talked, it was 2022. It is now 2023.
We are in our 9th year.
It's amazing that we're doing that. But and so tonight, January 3rd, it's soon to be January 4th. the first night of New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom. It's their WrestleMania is in January, every January 4th. And they do it 2 nights. So it's either the 3rd and the 4th and the 4th and the 5th. This year it's the 4th and the 5th. Sasha Banks, as of January 1st, Mercedes Renato, free agent, no longer with WWE, is making an appearance at Wrestle Kingdom. I believe it's tonight's Wrestle Kingdom. She has agreed to wrestle a match in Stardom. She's wrestled, a couple matches in Stardom, which is the New Japan kind of sister promotion for women's wrestlers. She's agreed to wrestle at least one match for New Japan as well. And there's speculation that this week on Wednesday on Dynamite, they may announce that she is going to be Paige's mystery partner.
They certainly hinted at it.
They've hinted at it, and I don't know if they officially couldn't say anything because during 2022 Sasha was still technically employed by WWE, so they had to wait until January. That's what I'm thinking they had to do. Because they kind of hyped it up and then they went quiet about it, and now it's kind of ramping back up. Where this Wednesday they're going to announce who Saraya's partner is going to be, and if it is indeed Mercedes, or it could be Trinity, who also, I guess, has traveled. So Trinity, Sasha, Trinity Fatu, Naomi, and Bailey have all traveled to Japan for this event. I think Trinity's going to appear with Sasha, and everything that I've heard is that Bailey is not appearing. She's just going because she wants to watch Sasha perform because this is a big deal. The dome for New Japan is a big fucking show. This is literally their WrestleMania. So some interesting stuff that could be shaken out in the AEW women's division, because if you have Paige or Saraya, and then you've got Mercedes/Sasha, and then you have Jamie Hayter, who's your women's champion. You've already got Toni Storm in there. You've got Britt Baker in there. Thunder Rose is going to be coming back in a couple of months. You've got Jade. You've got Kiera Hogan. You've got Red Velvet. I mean, not that a lot of these people are world beaters or necessarily world champions, but I think you've got a pretty good women's division if you have Sasha and Saraya as your top two. Like that's incredible.
I think they're going to have, if Sasha does come to AEW, she's going to be the one to topple Jade Cargill, I think.
That would be so, because Jade is the one that says she's money and all this other stuff. Yeah, that would be such a great
and
idea.
Besides, they got, Jamie Hayter, they got the whole thing with her and Britt,
she's
her and Britt and whoever else. And then Ruby just returned too.
Yep,
so,
Ruby returned with her new nose.
I'd love for her to get a belt.
Yeah, she's about due. I think there was a time where Ruby and Statlander were both penciled in to beat Jade, and then I think they just kept rolling with it. I think they just wanted to make Jade, extend this undefeated streak to kind of build her star power up. So, but if it is revealed, I mean, that's a game changer. Who knows? She might do it something like Regal and only sign like a year-long contract. And then go back to WWE, or she could be like Cody and sign with AEW for a little while and go back. But it would there would be a spark added to that division.
But is Sasha possibly going to wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom?
Is she,
or is she just going to appear?
Everything I've heard is that it's an appearance.
Yeah, I think it's an appearance to set up whoever she's wrestling at. Because there's like, New Japan does a lot of stuff in January. They do these dome shows, the 4th and the 5th.
Is it the Tokyo Dome?
Yeah, they do 2 Tokyo Dome shows, night 1 and night 2, like WrestleMania, and then they actually did it first, and the WrestleMania copied them because they saw how big it was. And then they do like this New Year's Double Dash thing. They do a New Year's in Sapporo or one in Osaka. There's all over. They do this whole tour.
They could possibly set up a title match for her against Kairi.
And I think that is what they're going to do, because she's already agreed to wrestle for New Japan and then for Stardom, which is the sister promotion. So I think it's more of a formality than anything that she's going to be wrestling Kairi down the line. There's a lot of other interesting opponents she could have in Japan, but I think the one that they're going to make is Kairi. That's the money match for them.
And because isn't Nakamura versus Muda?
That was the other day.
That was the other. Okay.
So
I thought that was going to be a Wrestle Kingdom thing.
It was at a it was actually a different Japanese promotion. Pro Wrestling Noah had their New Year's.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so Pro Wrestling Noah had their annual New Year's show, which again,
and they used Shinsuke's WWE music too.
They had Lee Johnson
Yep.
Jr. or whatever his name is over there play him to the ring live.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was cool. The weird thing was the end of the match was that Shinsuke sucked the mist out of the Great Muda's face, and it looked like they were kissing.
Right, so I saw that. I was like, what is going on here?
So he sucked the mist out, and then he hit Muda with his own mist, and then hit him with the Kinshasa and pinned him.
Yeah, it was
that's
awesome.
How the match ended. And then they've scrubbed this clip from the internet, but Great Muda said some pretty homophobic things about Nakamura in his post-match press conference. It was, yeah, it was. But anyway, it was an interesting thing that they allowed WWE allowed Shinsuke to be part of that.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
and they made him look like a goddamn star that he is.
Oh yeah, and Muda did the right thing in putting him over. Muda's last match at the pay-per-view, I think, is called The Final Bye Bye. There's some really goofy name, but he's in a 6-man tag match. They haven't announced who the opponents are, but it's Sting, Darby, and Muda together.
Interesting.
Oh,
so
that's crazy.
That actually reminds me of something. Sting had said recently that he'd like to go for the tag belts with Darby, and that would be pretty cool.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. All right. Well, on that note, we're getting very much to the top of the hour. Al, you still with us? You have anything you want to add before we wrap?
No, I spoke a lot at the beginning, so I started listening a little more.
It's all good.
Fair enough.
When people chime in. How about you, Ryan?
No, nothing tonight.
All right, Eric.
Maybe next week. I'll add more.
I'm good.
Good. All right. I think we've reached a consensus.
All right. Well, Vince, we are at the top of the hour.
Yes. We've said it all today. We've said too much.
We've reached the consensus.
Yeah, we've reached the conclusion for another episode of the War Report, brought to you by TagMeADate. I've heard some whispers that TagMeADate, the actual service, might be, doing the old Undertaker sit-up in a little while. So we'll keep you posted if we hear anything more about that. But as for now, it's just a rumor. Somebody heard that TagMeADate went to ask for a dozen coffin-shaped donuts, like the Undertaker did, like when they were looking for the Undertaker back at that SummerSlam. TagMeADate might be back. We need to get Leslie Nielsen on the case and see where TagMeADate is.
You know what? I do have one more thing. Mandy has officially reached 1 million.
Oh yes, I forget. We all forgot to mention Mandy Rose on her Fans Time account, which is different than OnlyFans, but not really because I think you still see her titties. Yeah, she's surpassed $1 million since the fire. And this is the important thing: since the firing, she's surpassed $1 million. Crazy shit. Yeah, so we would like that kind of money, and if you can help us get there, you don't even have to see our ball bags. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel on YouTube at TagMeADate. Follow us on social media at TagMeADate. When we get enough sponsors or enough followers and all that, we can get sponsors and shit. So help us. We're not going to make $1 million like Mandy Rose because. Listen, my titties are just as big, but I don't think they're just as nice. If you catch my drift, so just follow us on social media and tell your friends about the podcast. We do this every week, 6 p.m. We live stream 6 p.m. on Eastern time on all kinds of platforms. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter and Periscope. We're on Twitch. We're on Steve's LinkedIn. Everything is at TagMeADate for the most part. That's at TagMeADate, no spaces. It's all one word. YouTube is at TagMeADate. Hit subscribe and hit the bell. Twitter is TagMeADate. Instagram's TagMeADate. TikTok's TagMeADate. Facebook's TagMeADate. Periscope, whatever. Everything is basically TagMeADate except for Twitch. Twitch is twitch.tv/War Report. That's WARREPORT, all one word. Twitch.tv/War Report. And if you prefer an audio version instead of these video versions, all you have to do is wait for our show to go off the air. And within the 7 to 8 o'clock hour, Ryan rips the audio and uploads it to your favorite podcast app of choice. So all you have to do is give us a search. So you just search for the War Report or TagMeADate On your favorite podcast apps such as Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. If you are searching for the War Report, there are two different podcasts that both talk about pro wrestling that are both named War Report. Good news is, based on the icon, the album cover graphic, and the description of the podcast on your app, you'll be able to tell that it is indeed us. It says our names and shit on it. It'll say Steve, it'll say Vince, it'll say TagMeADate somewhere. You'll know it's us. So just search for it, hit subscribe, and within the hour of the show going off the air, you've got an audio-only version of the podcast you can take with you while you're doing laundry or going to the gym or whatever else it is that you do throughout your day. But if you're here for the live stream, well, we'll be back next week for another one. So you already know where to find us on Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. We're going to be live streaming again next Tuesday, 6 p.m. on Eastern Time with another edition of the War Report, brought to you by TagMeADate. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, if you have friends that love wrestling, spread the love. Share the wealth of this podcast. We'd love to have more people hop in the chat, comments, and all that other stuff. So thank you, Tara, for tuning in, and everybody else for tuning in. We will see you guys